Hey, what's up, guys? And welcome to another, another visual novel. But this one is about a murder mystery type visual novel, and I'm actually really into murder mystery stuff a little bit. So I thought this would be a pretty good game to play. Now, the name of this game is called Kansei. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm probably butchering it already, but still, this is going to be pretty interesting. So, without further ado, let's get on with this. This thing is impossible.
A tangram isn't that hard. You're just not thinking about it right.
Oh yeah? How exactly am I supposed to think about it?
You need to be more flexible. You should be open to the idea that what looks like one thing might just be a small part of something completely different. The outside shape doesn't always give you a good idea of what's inside.
You mean like how my tiny little sister is such a huge genius?
Just like that.
Who on earth invented this thing anyway? It's such a weird puzzle.
Well, I think that according to legend, the tangram happened when someone dropped a square tile and it broke into 7 pieces. When he tried to put it back together, he discovered that he could shape it into many different things.
So basically, we're having fun at the expense of some poor guy who broke his tile.
Well, if it weren't for that, wouldn't the tile just be a boring tile like all the other tiles? But because of what happened, it's now a famous puzzle that's been seen across the world. Sometimes, in order to find a greater purpose, you have to be broken first.
Broken, huh? I think I'm happy just being a boring old tile that no one will ever notice.
I don't think we get the luxury of choosing what happens to us.
You don't think we get to decide our future?
I never said that. We don't get to decide what happens to us, but we can always decide how to respond to it.
You know, you sure think about a lot of deep stuff for a 14-year-old. I thought girls your age were supposed to be into cute guys or nail polish.
That's a stereotype. You know it.
What? I'm not allowed to tease you? Besides, I'm sure you'll start thinking about a boy one day, and then if that day comes, you'd better make sure he gets my approval first. I don't want to lose my sister to some punk kid who's no good.
Stop choking. I told you, I'm not interested in that sort of thing. Don't worry. You're not going to lose me anytime soon.
Where am I? I open my eyes slowly and take in my surroundings. Coffee table, books, computer. Looks like a pretty average apartment. Something feels off though.
Good morning.
Oh, right. It's not an apartment, it's a prison. All thanks to me sticking my nose into a murder yesterday.
I hope you slept well.
Why do you care? A key sits beside me on the couch.
You're our guest after all.
Except for the part where I don't want to be here.
Well, there's not much I can do about that. You have to admit it's a lot nicer than police custody, though.
I don't see why Detective Gursky thought it was necessary to detain me anyway. I already solved the murder yesterday. The murderer even confessed.
Confessions can be recanted. It's best to have the most solid case possible in situations like this.
What about Naoki? He was here. He was there. Why not use that? Use him.
I'm sure they'll use my brother too, but the fact remains that you're the one who solved the case. That makes you the strongest witness they have.
I roll my eyes. Whatever. There's plenty of painfully obvious evidence at the scene already. You hardly need me.
You'd be surprised surprised what expensive lawyers are capable of doing. We need the most airtight case possible. Miko might seem like a relaxed guy, but he's thorough.
Miko? You mean Detective Gursky?
Yeah, Miko like Gursky.
You seem awfully familiar with him.
You think so?
Her expression breaks into a wide grin. I can only assume there's a story here that she's not telling me.
Anyway, you should thank me for convincing him to let you stay with us. With us, you get a nice bed, good food, and...
Aki, I got the coffee.
Naoki opens the door to the apartment, triumphantly holding up a cup of coffee.
coffee.
Naoki stumbles as he enters, grasping at the air in an attempt to catch himself. A young girl with pale skin and wet hair appears from the hallway and reaches out calmly, lifting the coffee cup from his outstretched hand as he falls forward. She steps into the side as Naoki goes crashing to the ground. The girl gazes hastily at Naoki lying on the floor.
Be careful.
Ow.
Ooh, nice save.
The young girl nods and hands a cup of coffee to me before disappearing back into the hallway. Who was that?
That's Lee May.
Uh-huh. I saw her yesterday, but she just kinda nodded at me and walked off. Naoki stands and rubs his head roughly.
That's Lee May for you.
She's a quiet child. Quiet child. Wild? Anyway, there's too much going on in her head, so it's a little hard on her to maintain conversations.
What, she's like a genius kid or something? Naoki and Aki exchange glances. What did I say?
Not exactly. It's a little more complicated than that.
Why don't we talk about it on the way there?
There? Where are we going?
To speak with our client, of course.
Doesn't take long for us to leave Edgewater. I gaze sleepily out of the car window and struggle to sit up straight in my seat. It's still early morning, and the city is only faintly outlined against the pale sky. Take a few sips of my coffee before dozing off completely. What? The cityscape outside of the car has transformed into a country scene. I vaguely remember passing a big city, but I'm pretty sure I fell asleep after that. Typical. I gaze at the rolling countryside as it passes by. All I see are clusters of trees with telephone poles dotting the side of the road. Iki's driving is surprisingly sedated. Considering her personality, I expected a lot more road rage. She seems content to chug along slightly below the speed limit, even though the road is perfectly straight and no other cars are in sight. I feel like we're creeping along at an incredibly slow pace. I guess this is why we had to leave early. At least I get to sit in the front. Glancing in the back seat, I see Naoki dozing his head resting on his chest. Lee May is awake, but she's staring blankly at the window.
Glad you're awake. Did you enjoy your sleep?
No, not particularly. The seat feels lumpy, and now my neck hurts. Iki laughs and shakes her head.
At least you're honest. We've gotten you something stronger than a triple shot.
No, it's not your fault. It'll kick in soon enough. I look out the window again, trying to focus on the scenery. It looks like we're far away from the city by now. Any reason we had to leave so early?
We have a long way to go to meet with our client, and he's the sort of guy who will get very fussy if we're late.
Where are we going anyway? What are we supposed to be doing? What's the client you're talking about? Who is the client you're talking about? Wait, you said you were going to tell me about Lee May, didn't you?
You're overflowing with questions. I suppose I can't the only one with questions, though. In fact, you're a pretty big question mark yourself. Let's make a deal, shall we? You ask a question, and I ask a question. We'll trade answers.
I guess that works. What should I ask? Uh, I guess I should ask, who are you people? Yeah. Who are you people anyway? You work for high profile corporations like Aten Engineering. The police seem to trust you almost unconditionally. But you just look like a bunch of kids. Eki burst out laughing.
You're a kid too, aren't you?
Yeah, well,
We're a special investigation agency. Our work isn't always as exciting as corporate espionage and murder. More often than not, we're just snapping photos of cheating lovers. As for why the police trust us, that's sort of a weird story. That's for another question, though. Okay, my turn. What's your name?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask that.
You do realize how suspicious it makes you look behind, right?
It's complicated.
Things are only as complicated as you want them to be. But I respect your privacy.
The girl who can insert thoughts into my head whenever she wants, respects my privacy. Ironic.
We're going to have to call you something, though. Is Kansei okay?
Kangai.
Roughly translated, means strong emotions. It's sort of a play on Kansei.
Is that supposed to mean something to me?
We call the ability to feel other people's emotions Kansei. It's like a super sensitivity. Since you have a type of Kansei, we can call you Kangai. Guy. Get it?
Yes, but it's stupid.
I never claimed to be good at picking names.
Try to think of something else, please.
I'll see what I can do.
I lean back in my seat and adjust myself, attempting to get comfortable. Is there any reason your car is so tiny?
Is that your next question?
Oh, I'm just saying that there's not much for space here.
We may never complain about it.
Yeah, well, Melee is tiny. Oh yeah, what's the deal with her anyway?
Now that's definitely a question.
Right. What should I ask? Where are we going? So what's the deal with Melee? Well, I guess I'll ask. Yeah, I'll do that one. So what's the deal with me anyway? Earlier you said there was a lot going on in her head.
All of us have a sort of Kansei like you do. We can all sense thoughts and feelings to some extent.
And
Limay's Kansei is probably the purest one of them all. She experiences the emotions of everyone around her.
everyone?
Everyone. If you're happy, she's happy. If you're sad, she's sad. Everyone else's emotions are constantly streaming into her mind. She has to spend a lot of her energy sorting out which feelings are hers and which aren't.
I turn to look at me. Her eyes are open, and her body is unmoving as she stares straight at the car window. Her mind must be a mess. I wonder if she can feel my pity for her. Can can she even tell that it's me, or is it all mixed up inside of her? Oh man, should I even be feeling this way? If she can sense it, it's probably really demeaning to her that I'm feeling bad for her. I don't want her to think that I think of her as a poor little kid or something. I desperately try to conjure up another emotion to squelch my current mood, but my mind is completely blank. For a brief moment, Lei Mi glances at me from the corner of her eye. She nods slowly, almost imper impedir impedir blah. But I think she's trying to tell me she's okay.
Alright, next question. Where are you from, anyway?
Los Angeles?
I'd rather you don't lie about it.
What?
Nico told me about it. Yesterday you told him that you were from LA, but when he
not.
Turned my gaze back to the scenery outside. Unsure of how to answer, Detective Gursky knew that I was lying yesterday. Why did he let me get away with it? Did he recognize me? I don't remember him, though. I've been living in Los Angeles for the past 3 years. Isn't that good enough?
And before that,
Only one question at a time, remember? Aki raises an eyebrow.
of course. Go ahead.
Um, I'll do this one. Where are we going?
A small estate out in the countryside. It belongs to one Mr. William Ott.
Otten, as in Otten Engineering.
Got it in one.
So he's the guy who hired you to track Sarah Blackmore because she was stealing information from him.
Yep. Well, until she was murdered, that is.
Yeah, there's that.
We reported to him yesterday about what happened.
You mean how about you mean about how Miss Bergstrom hired Sarah to steal it from him?
That and the fact that Miss Bergstrom claimed the third party was also interested in the information. He didn't sound too happy about that, so he ordered us to come see him today and give a full report in person.
Wow, that's a little demanding.
I can't blame him. His entire company's at stake here. I hope you don't mind coming with us. Since you were there yesterday, it seems only natural to bring you along.
Yeah, I get it. I'm sure the real reason she's taking me along is because she promised Detective Gursky that she'd keep an eye on me. But I guess I don't mind talking to this Otten guy. It's not like I had any plans for today anyway, and it might be interesting to see that house of a millionaire. Why does Mr. Otten live so far out of the way anyway? Considering that his company is in the middle of Edgewater, wouldn't it make more sense not to live a gazillion miles from the place?
Who knows? Word is that he really hates the city. His assistant said that he rarely leaves his house, conducting most meetings via satellite.
Weird. His entire company is built on cutting edge technology, but he doesn't want to leave around a couple stoplights? Aki shrugs.
Rich people are eccentric. Comes with the job description, I think.
Sounds more like paranoia to me.
It is. My turn now.
Aki grins.
Where did you live before Los Angeles?
Somehow I knew you were going to ask that.
Oh, am I really that predictable? Not going to answer.
Edgewater.
What?
I used to live here. I used to live here in Edgewater.
Here.
Aki sounds surprised.
Yes. I suppose that makes sense. You've only been here for 2 years.
She glances at me out of the corner of her eye. I'm sure she I'm sure she wants to ask more, but for one, she doesn't press the issue.
Well, I guess that was my question. Your turn.
What did you have to do to get the police to trust you?
We stopped the assassination of a visiting dignitary.
You what?
Everyone makes a big deal about it, but it was sort of a fluke. Naoki was trailing the businessman and secretary who were putting in extra hours at an expensive hotel.
And
We saw the assassin, thought it was suspicious, and called me in. We intercepted the assassin, saved the day, and apparently that makes us trustworthy heroes.
seriously?
Seriously.
Forgive me if I find that hard to believe. A story like that is ridiculous.
So, you're the boy with a Kansei that allows you to experience the final moments of any dead body you touch. You should be used to the ridiculous by now.
I guess she has a point there. It still doesn't sound like a real story, though.
You must stay.
I jump a little as Lei Mi speaks up from the back seat. She's been silent for so long, I almost forgot she was there. Lei Mi is pointing at a small side of the road that we just passed.
Oops.
A key gives the steering wheel a tight spin, and the car's tires screech as the car spins in the road.
Ow!
Naoki jerks awake as his head bumps against the window he was using for a headrest.
Sorry, missed a turn.
He rubs his head slowly.
Yeah, I noticed. I guess we're almost there. Yep, just a few minutes now. Anyway, what were we talking about? Right, Mr. Ott. He's one of those self-made men you hear about all the time, built Ott engineering himself from the ground up. He's also ridiculously secretive. No interviews, hardly any TV appearances. His assistant, Sophia Miller, does most of that.
The car slows to a stop as we approach Mr. Ogden's house. I squint out of the window to get a better look at it. It looks like a very expensive, very pretty box. Kind of small for a rich guy, though. This is it?
This is it.
But it looks like someone just glued some fancy doors and windows into a huge box.
Yeah, it kind of does. I guess since he always stays inside, he doesn't care what it looks like on the outside.
A key kicks open the car door and leaps out. The, the front doors of the house swing open silently, and a strict-looking woman approaches us.
Are you the representatives from the agency? Yep, I'm Aki Mizutani. You must be Sophia Millicent. We spoke on the phone.
Aki thrusts her hand up, but the woman merely raises a skeptical eyebrow.
You're not exactly what I pictured.
Looking at Aki's wrinkled shirt and dusty pants, I can see why she might be a little thrown off.
Being a private investigator involves having an appearance that doesn't stand out, man. Truly.
The woman places her hands on her hips and sighs reluctantly.
Well, come in. Mr. Otten seems unusually eager to speak with you.
Aki kicks the car door shut and motions us to follow her. I climb out and stumble for a moment as my knees buckle underneath my weight. My legs are cramped from sitting in the car for so long. Sophia watches me impassively. She doesn't look impressed. Naoki comes stumbling out of the car after me, and we both do our best not to look like a pair of goldfish who have been dumped unceremoniously out of our bowl.
Are these your associates?
If she was unimpressed before, she's plain worried now. I can't say I blame her.
They are.
Eki steps to the side, and Naoki and Li Mei approach Sophia.
This is Lee May, and this is my brother Naoki.
Li Mei glides up to Sophia like a swan and offers her a polite bow.
He is.
Sophia points at me. Aki stares at me, and a hint of panic shows in her eyes. I've already made it clear that I don't intend to give my name away, but I guess that puts her in a somewhat difficult situation.
That would be Kansei.
What? Kangai? She's really gonna stick with that weird name?
Kansei?
I turn to Aki and make a face, but Sophia either doesn't notice or care. Aki shrugs apologetically.
Sorry, it's the best I could do on short notice. You should have given me something to work with.
I'm suddenly regretting not telling her my name. Was I'm I'm suddenly regretting not telling her my name was Fred or something. I guess it's better than nothing. As I follow Sophia into the house, I see a brief flash of light. What's that light?
It's a retina detector.
Sophia indicates a small camera set in the floor frame, in the door frame that we passed through.
The house takes a shot of the eyes of anyone who passes through. It's useful for identification purposes. There are other sensors around the house that also capture your retina image. The house can remember your preferences and adjust things like lighting and temperature.
Whoa, that's more than a little bit creepy. But I thought Mr. Otten lived out here because he didn't like technology.
Mr. Alton lives here because he enjoys the peace and quiet being away from the city affords him. This house, however, has the most cutting-edge security possible, including quite a few innovations not yet available on the market.
Fun. I'm sure the house is already looking up my dental records.
Now, please don't dawdle. Mr. Alton's other guest is already here waiting for you. Other guests?
As we enter the house, I see the outline of a man standing at the far end of the room, inspecting a scroll on the wall.
No.
I should have known you'd be here.
That's Detective Gursky. Okay.
Nico, to what do we owe the pleasure?
Hucky doesn't bother to disguise the sarcasm in her voice.
Detective Gursky played a major role in the apprehension of the murderer yesterday. It's only natural that he'd be invited back here by Mr. Alton.
Yeah, I was actually there among some people.
Detective Gursky looks pointedly at Hucky, but she just gazes coolly back at him. Sophia ignores the chill in the air between them and nods at his
Please
curtain.
make yourselves comfortable. Mr. Alton is finishing up our conference call. He'll see you once it's finished. Oh, can we explore the house? If you wish. The house currently logs you all as guests, so any doors you are authorized to pass through will open automatically.
Hucky takes her brother's hand and gives it a quick tug.
Let's go! Oh, okay.
Aoki trails after her, looking unsure. At the far end of the room, Detective Gursky rolls his eyes. Sophia turns and heads up a narrow staircase, presumably to do something important. The room is silent now. I swallow, trying hard not to make a sound. Detective Gursky turns to inspect the fountain in the middle of the room with finged interest. Unfortunately, he looks more annoyed than interested. He may stand silently in the center of the room, staring off at nothing in particular. There's something about her that bothers me, but I can't figure out what it is. Her still body and distant gaze reminds me of the corpses I've seen, but even a dead body doesn't give me the uneasy feeling she does. Aki said that she feels the emotions of everyone, but it looks to me as if she doesn't feel any emotions at all. Before I can think on it more, the front door slides open to reveal a young woman with slightly unkempt hair standing on the other side.
Oh! I'm so sorry I'm late. I got lost on the way here. Do you know how easy it is to miss that turn to get here?
What? The woman looks at me unexpectedly. I wonder if Sophia keeps knows there's a visitor. Should I go upstairs and tell her?
You must be Liam Otten. I've heard so much about you.
Liam, I thought Aki said that Mr. Otten's name was William. She smiles and holds her hand out. I give it a quick shake before stepping aside to let her in. Yeah, I'm not.
It's okay. I'm not here to talk about all those rumors. Rich people always do the worst of it, don't they?
She walks around the perimeter of the room, examining everything quickly with her eyes.
And even if they are true, you're free to do what you want with your life. No one should judge you for your choices, right?
I don't think.
Oh, right. Larissa Klein from Modern Trends. I'm here for the interview.
Uh,
Did your uncle not tell you about it?
she she flits around the room again, stopping to inspect the bamboo that stands like a guard by the hallway.
Pretty. Is it real?
Honestly, I have no idea. She looks up and notices Detective Gursky for the first time.
Oh, hello.
Rushes up to him and holds out her hand.
Larissa Klein.
Yes, I heard.
Marissa nibbles on the edge of her fingernail coyly.
Oh, good. So we can
Is she flirting with him? I'm not sure what the. I'm not sure if I want to watch this.
I'm afraid I'm only here for business, ma'am.
She gives him a gentle push.
Oh, don't call me that. It makes me feel so old. Or are you supposed to be all formal with me because you work here?
I don't work here.
Marissa's eyes grow wide.
A guest? Even more interesting.
She points to the fountain that Gursky is looking at.
Are you an art fan?
She reaches out to touch the dragon cold around the glass sphere.
Please refrain from touching the art.
Marissa freezes as Sophia appears at the bottom of the staircase.
Miss Klein, I presume? Yep, sorry You're 2 hours late. Mr. Autumn has other business to attend to now. Hang on! I called and said I'd be late, though. I don't recall receiving such a call.
Marissa turns to me and grabs me by the shoulders.
You didn't tell her?
Tell her what?
You're the one who answered the phone when I called. Why didn't you tell her?
I just got here. I have no idea what you're talking about. Why is it that everything is somehow my fault? Marissa blinks and releases her grip on me.
Wait, what's your name?
Kansei? I choke a little as I spit the name out. It sounds even dumber than when Aki says it.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I thought you were Liam Autumn.
Yes, I gathered as much.
Miss Klein, you may have called ahead, but the fact remains that you are very late, and Mr. Autumn has a strict schedule. Wait, this is my first major interview. Is there any way I can squeeze it in today?
Sophia sighs.
Come with me. Oh, thank you.
Marissa skitters up the staircase after Sophia. Detective Gursky's eyeball is eyeing me with a quizzical look on his face.
Con guy?
Yeah, what of it?
Did Aki pick that name for you?
Is it that obvious?
She's notoriously bad. When she was a girl, she had a cat that was born with only a stub for a tail. She named the cat Stucktail.
Great. I guess I should be grateful I didn't get saddled with a name like Kid, who talks to dead people.
I'm sorry you're stuck with those kids right now. If I had my way, I wouldn't hurt you with.
What are you talking about?
They all belong to the government. You know that, right?
Wait, what?
No, are you gossiping about me again?
Aki enters from the hallway and slaps Detective Gursky on his back.
I'd rather you don't feed our friend Con Guy here any misinformation.
Well, I haven't lied to him, if that's what you mean. Mr. Autumn will see you now.
Sophia descends the staircase with Marissa in tow. Sophia looks even more annoyed than usual. Marissa's smiling, but it looked forced. Did you get your interview?
Of course. It'll be a winner, so be sure to look out for it.
She points her pen at me and jerks it back like a gun.
Bang!
Somehow, I doubt her article will win very much.
Hey, Sophie, you don't mind if I have a look around, interview the staff, and other nonsense, right?
It seems to be taking all of Miss Mitherson's strength not to strangle Marissa.
Please make it quick. Righto.
Marissa sat up and heads off down the hallway. I can't read.
Shall we get going?
Sophia waits patiently for us to follow her. The five of us file up the stairs and follow her down a hallway to a glass door. Sophia knocks on it twice.
Mr. Autumn, the investigators you requested are here.
A small burst of static pops from a speaker on the wall as Mr. Autumn's voice emanates from the tiny box. A camera descends from the ceiling and pans slowly across us before coming to a stop in front of me. The lens adjusts and focuses on me. Suddenly, another burst of static.
No, go away.
What?
Get out. Get him out.
Everyone turns around to stare at me.
What did you do?
I didn't do anything. Stop blaming me for everything bad that happens. Mr. Arden's voice crackles over the speaker again.
Sophia, get rid of him.
I'll take care of it right away, sir.
Sophia turns towards me,
Please follow me this way, Kansei.
but I didn't do anything.
Please follow me this way, Kansei.
Sophia repeats her request, but her voice sounds much more tense. Fine, I'm coming. I follow Sophia down the winding staircase.
I apologize for Mr. Hunt's sudden outburst. He's prone to unnatural mood swings based on unidentified provocation.
She sounds more like she's giving a press release than an apology.
We can proceed with your discussion after he is less agitated.
You're not kicking me out.
Mr. Hunt called for you. Once he settles down, he'll want to speak with you again. Until then, please make yourself at home while I go to work out the details of this visit with your associates.
She turns and heads back up the staircase without waiting for a response from me. I collapse on the stone bench with a sigh. I really can't catch a break, can I? Aki has followed me down the stairs. She looks concerned. No worries, I'm fine. After all, crazy old men yell at me all the time. She smiles, and I think I hear a small giggle escape her lips. At least she's amused.
Sorry about that.
Probably your fault. No need to apologize.
Just sympathizing with you.
Right. The part of your Kansei, or are you just trying to be nice?
It's no good. Mr. Otten's refusing to come out.
Naoki and Lei Mi join us in the front hallway.
Detective Gursky is still up there trying to talk to him. It's too easy.
Any idea what's going on up there?
No, I can't think of anything I've read that's like this. I know what you did. You got Mr. Otten bunkered up there pretty good.
I didn't do anything. You saw me.
Yeah, I saw. It doesn't make any sense, though. He seemingly insistent about talking with us today. Hey, May, what do you think?
Aki turns to the young girl. I mean, closes her eyes. It almost looks like she's ready to drift off to sleep.
Scared. Yeah, we figured that much out already. Anything else? What about when he first reacted?
She inhales and lets out a tiny breath.
He was not surprised.
Not surprised? That's strange. Does that mean doesn't mean he expected to see me? But if that were the case, my thoughts are interpreted by a new voice.
Whoa. Hey. I didn't know we were having guests today.
A young man, probably in his teens or early 20s, was staring at us from the hallway. His gaze passes over Lei Mi, Aki, and Naoki before resting on me.
Way to go.
He gives me a thumbs up. What?
I don't know how you managed to get 3 at once. That's a pretty sweet haul of chicks, man.
Who, them?
But I'm a guy.
Aki holds back a snicker.
Oh, crap.
He shrugs and regains his composure quickly.
Ah, well. I've seen worse.
What's that supposed to mean?
Let's see. Bunch of people hanging out in the lobby for no reason. That's an easy one. Uncle called you out here, and now he's having a hissy fit and making you wait. Am I right?
Got it in one. And you must be the Otten.
This guy's Liam Auden. I guess I can see why Marissa mistook me for him. We look like we could pass for brothers. I feel a little insulted that she'd adequate me with this guy, though. Everything about him screams slacker. He doesn't look like he's had a hard day in his life.
I'm Liam, alright? You definitely don't look like business partners. Uncle's not the kind of guy who lets just anyone enter. He's all crazy paranoid that way.
If he's as paranoid as you say, why are you here?
Aki ignores Liam's question and counters with her own. Liam shrugs.
Family. It's not like he's got a choice.
Despite his casual air, I detect a hint of smugness around him. He probably enjoys feeling like he's above us. I've known this guy for about 10 seconds and he already ticked me off. Aoki looks like he agrees with me, but it's clear that he's trying to hide his feelings. Aki, on the other hand, doesn't seem to be bothered at all.
Ah, so you're visiting your uncle today?
No, I live here.
He looks a little hurt that she'd assume otherwise.
Really? That's even cooler. Must be kind of boring for you, though.
Huh?
I was looking around earlier, and nearly all the doors are locked.
His wounded expression quickly transformed into one of pride.
That's because you're a visitor. You don't get many access privileges. I'm allowed in, like, every room in the house.
Like? So, not all of them.
Aki's eyebrows shoot up. She definitely looks interested.
Yeah, well,
Liam looks to the side and mumbles.
there's like a lock on his office in the security room. Those rooms are pointless.
Oh, well, if that's all.
Aki shrugs casually and Liam relaxes his shoulders. I glance at Naoki. He's staring at some invisible point on the ground, trying his best not to be in this conversation. Aki leans towards him. Liam and tilts her head as if to whisper in his ear. Her voice is suddenly quiet, transbiterrial almost.
Yeah, I guess so.
Aki watches Liam's expression carefully as it changes from uncertainty to curiosity.
I don't suppose I can ask
What?
He's caught off guard by the request.
Well, seeing as your uncle seems to be hanging us both out to dry, maybe we could at least spend time doing something interesting.
Like,
I don't know. Maybe you could show me around. We could poke around your uncle's precious privacy while he's
Liam smirks.
I guess I got nothing better to do with my time. Sure, why not?
He coils his arm around Aki's wrist and guides her towards the hallway.
Aki. Split up and explore when you can. Something about this doesn't settle well with me at all. Might not get another chance.
I really wish she wouldn't do that. I'm still surprised every time she uses her brain voice, or Kansei, or whatever. Is she always like that?
Yeah, Aki has a way with people. She's persuasive.
No offense, but that was a rather thinly tiled bit of manipulation, though. Why do you fall for it?
She uses her Kansei to push someone's thoughts in the direction she wants.
So, mind control?
Nothing that powerful. Just subtle suggestions, like a whisper in the back of your mind.
I hope she doesn't intend to use it on me.
She can't.
Huh? What do you mean?
Because with Kansei, there's sense. It's your voice.
To us, it sounds like she's speaking directly, but normal people all feel like they just had a random impulse.
Naoki gazes at the floor and kicks aside from imagery, imaginary dust with the side of his foot. What?
Nothing. You should probably get going. I'd rather not split up if you don't have to. I don't do well exploring new places.
You're not even leaving the house. How bad could it be?
Well, I got stuck in an elevator once because I couldn't figure out how to get it to go to another floor. It's true.
I mean, nods your head in confirmation. I don't even want to think about how he managed to accomplish that. All right then, what should we do? Then let's all go together.
Is it really okay?
Sure, why not? As long as we learn something, I'm sure Aki won't care.
Is that okay with you, Lee?
Three of us walk down the hallway together. Naoki hangs behind me and I. He seemed uncertain. I thought we were all going together. Or are you not coming?
I'm coming.
Naoki, tur- Naoki catches up. Naoki hurries to catch up to us. There's nothing to be afraid of, man.
That's easy for you to say. I'm not like you.
The expression changes in Lami's eyes briefly, as if she just recalled something that she had hoped to forget. So you're nervous. So you're nervous. No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal.
The hallway stretches out with doors on either side. Behind the glass door at the end, a staircase leads downwards to parts unknown. So where do you want to start? Maybe we should start at the end of the hall and work back.
Anything but the stairs.
Let's take the stairs.
Naoki and Lami speak up at the same time before they both fall silent. Naoki look Naoki looks nervous as usual. Lami looks moody. For some reason, they seem to be expecting me to make a decision. Admittedly, the stairs aren't the most inviting thing about this place, but just because they're out of the way doesn't mean that doesn't mean that they're that scary.
So,
So,
where should we go?
did I just ask them that? Did I just ask them that? Why am I the one who has to decide now? It's not as if I want. It's not if as we won't. It's not as if we won't have to check out all these places eventually. Anyway, let's go to the last door on the right.
Sounds good to me.
Even though Lammy doesn't say anything, it seems like she's disappointed. As soon as I step into the room, I regret my choice.
Oh, Kansei! Hello again!
Marissa stands up from the couch was perched on and rushes towards me as if we were old friends.
I'm so sorry about before. No hard feelings, right?
Yeah, sure. Marissa's eyes grow wide at the sight of Lamy.
Oh my! Aren't you adorable?
She leans down to inspect Lamy's face. Lamy stares back at Marissa calmly as she contradicts her.
You're a precocious child.
She turns to me with a fake smile plastered on her face.
Is she your little sister?
No.
Oh, that's too bad. You'd make a wonderful older brother.
If you say so. Marissa straightens up and takes a few steps back as if to admire the three of us.
So, are the three of you Liam's friends?
No, we were just here to talk with Mr. Otten about things.
Oh, what kind of things?
Marissa's eyes light up with a burning curiosity. I suddenly feel uncomfortable sharing any more information with her. Just things. It's nothing.
Oh, you can tell me.
She winks and places a finger on her lips as if to prove that she won't talk about whatever secret she might divulge. It's really not something we should be talking about.
Oh, don't be silly. You can talk about anything with me. It's not about Liam, is it?
You know what? We're done here. I'm really not interested in continuing a conversation with such a shallow and annoying person. I turn and head for the door without bothering to wait for Marissa to respond. Amy follows without any objection, but Naoki glances worriedly over her shoulder as he follows us out.
What was that all about?
It's nothing.
That definitely wasn't nothing. You lashed out at her for no reason.
Hey, I had a reason. She ignored me. She's a reporter. Get it? She's not interested in us. Just the story. She's such a two-faced liar. Naoki sighs.
Lots of people lie, though. Especially the people we have to deal with. That's not really an excuse to be unkind.
He looks disappointed.
We have to be better than this.
Romantic idea, but that doesn't cut it too well in the real world. Naoki looks like he wants to press the issue, the optist, the optist changed the subject instead.
Well, should we keep exploring the house?
Yeah, let's get.
Whoa, are you okay?
I don't feel so good.
What's happening?
What's going on?
I feel my stomach churning. Lamia looks ill too. Please don't.
Scared. He's scared.
Who? Con guy?
I clutch at my stomach. Everything feels so light. It's Mr. Otten. I race down the hallway, still clutching at my stomach. Mr. Otten! I stumble up the staircase, barely stopping for breath as I head toward Mr. Otten's office. Naoki chases after me, stopping short at the top of the stairs. Something's wrong with Mr. Otten. I rush to the door and pound on it frantically. Mr. Otten! Mr. Otten! Gursky grabs me by the shoulders and pulls me away from the door. Let me in, there's something wrong.
Whoa, kid, calm down.
I feel like I'm about to throw up, but I doubt Detective Gursky would appreciate that. He's not okay. Gursky stares at me for a moment. He looks torn. I can tell he's not excitedly ready to trust me yet, but I think he also feels like something is wrong. Finally, he turns to Sophia.
Mr. Rotten has been unusually quiet for a while. You sure everything is okay? Is there any way we can force ourselves in?
Sophia doesn't look pleased by his request.
It's certainly unorthodox. I don't think Mr. Otten would be pleased.
I think he'd be even less pleased if he needed medical attention and we didn't get it to him.
Sophia sighs and nods.
Very well. The only way to open the office without express permission is to reset the security system.
And how exactly does one do that?
Someone needs to reboot the system manually. Then someone else has to enter the restart code within 10 seconds of the system being rebooted.
Sounds complicated.
It's meant to provide maximum security for Mr. Otten. I'm the only one here who knows the code, so someone else will have to go to the basement to reset the power. The basement door is usually locked to visitors, but I can unlock it from here.
Detective Gursky glances over my shoulder.
All right, Naoki, go reset it.
What? Why me?
Somehow I get the feeling Naoki says that a lot. He doesn't seem very enthusiastic about going down there. Kind of feel bad for him. Why don't I go down there instead?
You?
Yeah, why not? I know how to flip a few switches.
Yeah, he could do it.
Detective Gursky shrugs.
Sure, why not?
Alright, the reboot process is fairly simple.
lights off, then on. Then push the reset button.
Okay. I head down the stairs and back down the staircase. The door opens for me without any resistance. The basement is piled up high with wooden crates and dusty boxes. I wonder what Mr. Otten keeps in here. The switch is on the far wall. I pry the cover open, and it opens with a rusty squeal. The inside is just as Sophia described. I quickly flip the switches according to her instructions, and the lights switch off, leaving nothing but the eerie glow of the emergency lights. I hit the reset button, and after a few seconds, I hear a quiet hum. The lights switch back on, and I race back to the main hallway. Detective Gursky stops me as soon as I reach the top of the stairs.
Sorry, kid. There's nothing we can do now.
What do you mean? Detective Gursky glances at the office door as Sophia exits. She looks pretty shaken. Naoki is at her side, supporting her.
You were right about Mr. Otten. He's dead.
What? What happened?
He was already dead when we got there. Sophia tried to revive him, but
Naoki stops and glances at Detective Gursky uncomfortably.
I stopped her. It was too risky.
What do you mean?
It's not important.
Detective Gursky approaches Sophia and places a hand on her shoulder.
Sophia, I know you're upset, but we need to contact the police.
All signal is blocked off in this place. Mr. Otten's orders, of course.
Is there a landline I can use then?
In there.
Sophia lets go of Naoki and numbly points at the study door.
I'll show you.
As the two of them leave, Laimee approaches us. Any sign of her distress from before has disappeared. Her expression is facade. Yeah, Naoki, what happened in there? What? Naoki shifts back and forth as if he's not sure he should be saying anything.
Nicola checked his pulse, but he was already dead.
You said Sophia tried to revive him?
Yeah, she was going to use CPR, but Detective Gursky stopped her. He said that Mr. Otten looked like he had been poisoned, and she might get poisoned herself if she tried mouth to mouth.
Naoki sighs. He looks pretty shaken himself.
We should tell Aki what happened.
Well, we don't know where she is.
She's coming.
Laimee turns towards the staircase just as Aki reaches the top.
Hey, what happened? The lights went out for a moment.
Mr. Otten died.
Died? How?
Poisoning, it seems.
Did you read his last moments?
I'm afraid not. Gursky won't let me in there.
What about you? Did you see it?
Aki turns to Naoki and he nods.
I got it.
Good. Then we'll take a look at it later.
Detective Gursky exits the study with Sophia. She appears to have calmed down, but her body still trembles every time she breathes in.
The police are on their way. It's a bit of a drive for them, so we'll have to sit tight until then. I suggest we all wait downstairs. As I don't have any jurisdiction here, it's only a suggestion,
He looks directly at me,
but it's the best option if you want to stay unnoticed.
turns and leads Sophia down the staircase, helping her with one step at a time. Aki frowns as they leave.
Always the gentleman.
Huh?
Anyway, we should probably follow his suggestion and head downstairs. We wouldn't want to get into any more trouble than we already are.
What do you mean by that? Since when were we in trouble?
It's not you.
Aki shoots a glance at him, and the expression on his face makes it obvious she just told him something. Suddenly remember something that was bothering me earlier. You know, Detective Gursky told me that you guys belong to the government. What does that mean?
It means that Miko shouldn't talk so much.
She heads downstairs before I can ask anything else. Naoki follows meekly, but Lemmy stays with me. What's up?
Do you truly want to know?
About you guys? Well, I think I deserve an explanation.
But do you want one?
Well, yeah, I guess so.
We're on parole for crimes past. Gursky is our parole officer.
What? Lemmy nods once, looking satisfied with her suck, succulent explanation. She turns and heads downstairs without another word. Parole? They're all convicts. Wait, even Naoki? Aki I could understand, but Naoki? And what about Lei Mi? What did she do? I'm really starting to worry about the sort of people I've fallen in with here. Slowly I descend the staircase, measuring one step after another. Maybe I really shouldn't have asked. When I get to the bottom, Detective Gursky glances at me with mild amusement.
Glad you could make it. Did you take a wrong turn somewhere?
No,
You okay?
I'm fine. I look around the room, hoping to change the subject. Where did everyone go?
Miss Millerson wasn't feeling well, so Naoki offered to make some tea for her. They both went to the kitchen. Aki said she had to use the restroom, although I suspect she just wanted to look around. And I'm never entirely sure what May is doing. The house is in lockdown right now, so it won't let any of us leave until Sophia unlocks it. I guess you can roam around or do whatever you feel like.
Okay. Okay, guys. Well, I guess that was a little demo, I suppose. A little demo for this game. So, if you guys want, I would buy the full game because this is actually getting interesting. So apparently, Mr. Auden died from poisoning of somehow. Well, this was actually a pretty interesting little demo, I suppose. So, if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe, turn on notifications so you never miss a single video, and comment down below. And if you guys want, I will buy the full game. So, anyway, I will see you in the next one. Peace out.